Welcome to another Too Tall Toby exercise example created in IronCAD. This one is dated the 6/01/2024. This model is not too bad. It's a corner clip. It's got some interesting things inside of there. So there's a draft face here we got to contend with, and we have these angles here with the radiuses starting at set value. So it's got a 60 straight, then the radius comes in. That happens in a couple places here. It also happens here. We have a 40 straight and a 40 here, and we have some offset geometry that we have to deal with. So typically, you would build these with sketches and put these curves in here. So I'm gonna try to do kind of a mixture of both. I'll do this one with some sketch information on this side. This one I'll do it with a different approach in IronCAD. So just give you some ideas how to do these differently in IronCAD. So let's move this over to the other screen here, and I'll build this in IronCAD. So first we're gonna start off starting with a just drag and drop extrude, because a lot of times you can start with this versus a sketch, and we know the overall dimensions of this thing. So we know the length or the width of this thing is 66 from the dimensions, and we know the other one side here has got a 38. I'll just do the math here, show you. So you can do 38 plus 10 for the width. We also have a radius of 20, so that's going to be 40 plus another 10 on the other side. So the total of that's going to be 98 in there, and the height of this is 125. So just to give you an idea, so again, that's 98, 66, 125. Okay, so that's our overall dimensions. So we'll start with that, and then we'll start removing material to get our shape. So the next one I'm going to do is basically just do this corner here, and I'm going to rotate down so I can drop an extrude cut here, and that will allow me to cut this off this geometry. And the way we can do these is just kind of snap these to the side to get the offset geometries if we like. So what we're going to do is move this over here to this far side, and we know there's an offset of 10, so we just go over here and subtract 10, or you just could have put in 56 there. We also know the overall length of this cutout in this case is 38, so we'll go ahead and put that cutout there. So that gives us our cut on that geometry. Since this is in place, we have basically a cut cylinder here that's right on the center of this edge, so I can just drag and drop that on there and set the diameter for that guy to be 40 on there. So that gives us the information that we need, that has to have a 10. If you look down here at the bottom, it'll show you 10 millimeters on that side and 10 millimeters on that side. So that will give us our basic geometry for the shape. Next, we'll go ahead and do this cut here that's got an angle of 8 degrees on here. So this one I'll show you how to do it a different way. So it's just kind of a different approach. You can do it multiple different ways, but we're just going to drag and drop a profile here. Again, I'm just going to drop it on this corner, and I'm going to line these up here. So the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to put my starting point up here, and I'm just going to move it down just for now. We'll just move it down to 60. We're going to have to move this again later, but anyways, we're going to move it down 60, and we're going to have to rotate it in 8 degrees. Okay, so that's our cut, and we can just now pull that out. So why we're going to have to move this later is what I'm going to do, instead of doing the blend from this edge, I'm just going to just do a regular blend right here on this, and it's got a value of 40 on that radius, and go ahead and hit OK. So doing that, it added material to our edge. So we know that we have now, if we look at this, it says 57.203. That's not what we want. So what we can do is we can actually select our shape here, and what we can do is turn our TriBall on, and we're going to simply just hit our space bar and reposition it to this top of this edge here. And I'm going to align it to this vertical straight edge, and now I can lock it and say, give me the distance from that edge. Actually needs to be a distance from this point of 60 millimeters. So that will move it down from that edge, and basically moves my blend with it because the edge moves, but it will give me my value of 60 millimeters. So I don't have to go into the sketch and do anything there. I just move the things around, and this will give me my shape or my geometry that I need. All right, so that's one way to approach it. So let's go into the other side here, and this one we'll just use our typical sketch geometry. So again, I'm going to drop on the corner point here. Again, I'm just doing this for alignment purposes, so I'm going to line the side and the bottom up, and then I can move this over here and then offset it 10 again. So it's minus that, or just type in 50 either way, or no, type in 50. Minus 10 there, or we're going to type in 50 to get that value. And we know our height, since I aligned it to the bottom edge, it's got a height value of 40. So that edge right here now, if we look at that, is 40 millimeters. Okay, so that gives us a way to get us our starting point, if you will. And I'm just going to hit Alt-E, which will put us into our sketch mode. And this is the direction, since I was extruding into the material. I'm just going to flip it using this flat view. I'll flip it over to this side so I can get my geometry the way I like it. Next, I'm going to do some projection geometry. So I'm going to project this arc for a temporary purpose, and I'm going to offset it 10 millimeters inside of there. So that will give us our arc that we're going to use here to draw a tangent line to that, and we need to have an arc here. So I'll just do a 2-point arc, and I'll just draw this arc up here, and I'm just gonna start it and draw it. Doesn't really matter, because what I'm gonna do is gonna put some constraints on this. So first thing I need to do is make sure that that is tangent to that, and I wanna make sure that this has a radius of 40. Okay, so that gives us our starting points for these inside of here, and now our curves, we can do a lot of things here. So we have a little handle here that we can move this around and make it longer or shorter, however we like. So we're just gonna make it a little bit longer, so make sure we get a tangency value here. So we're gonna put a tangent line to our top curve, so you can see that it makes a tangency to that line, and I'm gonna come down here and move along this until I see that little blue indicator showing a tangency, and I'm gonna click to place that. So now I have a tangency line to both curves here, and I can just simply trim it away. So I can click to my trim command, trim out that geometry. I don't need this arc that we created, and it's just telling us there's an offset constraint, so we'll just go ahead and delete that and delete this extra part of that curve. So that will give us our profile, and I don't need this line anymore, and I'll just move this point up to the top. So a simple way to build that inside of here, and it's going to extrude through that geometry. Next thing we know is we have a draft on this face, so I'm going to go ahead and hit draft face command, and I'm going to select this top face, and I'm going to change my direction here by just clicking on that arrow, and I'm going to say move that in. 8 degrees is what we want, and hit OK to draft that front face. Next, we can put our blends here on these bottom edges here. So I'll go ahead and select both of these two edges, and they have a blend value of 20 for those on the radius, and we'll just hit enter a couple times to apply those. And last thing that we need to add is this rib feature and a blend. So you can drop the blend on first, or you can drop or blend to individual edge. Either one will work. I'll show you how you can do that the second way, or the latter way. So I'm gonna drop over to my shapes catalog, and I have down in here as a rib feature, and I can just drop this right on this face. And what I'm gonna do is just use the handles to do this. So I'm gonna have to do, again, I'm not gonna use any sketches. I'm gonna make sure that this is dropped on this face, so it's aligned to that face, and I'm gonna align it to this edge. And it says it's 45, so if this is 38, the other size box handle needs to be 38 as well to give us a 45-degree angle there. And now we just need to set its height, which is 10 millimeters. So let's go ahead and click that. Click that handle there, and it's able to make sure that it's correct. Yeah, 10 millimeters for the width of that. And we're going to use that handy-dandy TriBall again. I'm going to hit the space bar to move it up to the top face, and we just want to set the distance by right-clicking, edit distance from point, this top here, and we know that it has a depth of 30 from there. So that's 30 millimeters from the top. Okay, so this is what I meant. Now we have an edge. If we select it, we have two individual edges, so we can just hold our shift key down, select both, hit blend on that, and that value for that is 12 for that blend value. So that's kind of our shape here, and what we need to do is now get our mass for this. So if we go over to properties, the mass density they called out for this is 2700, and we'll just tab out of there, and that should give you a mass of about 575 for that part. So there you go. That's how you can build this model in IronCAD, and just a couple different ways to do that. Again, so you can do one without any sketch interaction to create this blend here at a certain distance, or you can use the sketches as normal and just use your originating curves and add to it to get your geometry. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, kind of a unique little way to build this model, but fairly easy to do. And you can always change some things in IronCAD if you're wondering why it's not too smooth here. We have a default of 30. For our surface smoothness, you can bump this up to whatever you want, and that'll make your arcs and things like that look a little bit cleaner. And you can set that on your tools options if you like. If you're just working in IronCAD and you didn't know this, you can go into your part settings and scroll down. There is a value here for our surface smoothness, and you can set that higher by default, so it'll be a little bit better. So if you want to set 55, for example, all your arcs, when you drag and drop those out, for example, will now look a little bit sharper. So hopefully you find that useful, and we'll see you on the next one.